everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Heather. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do a video that's like a live but not live because there is something terribly wrong with my internet and I have no idea what it is. So I wanted to go live with this bag so that you could see in real time how easy it is, but instead we're going to do a recording like we would if it was live, just without interaction, I guess, which is fine. So today we're doing a modified version of the Pebble Sling bag from Kandou patterns. Let me make sure that's accurate. Hey, we got it. Okay, so yes, we're doing the Pebble Sling from Kandou patterns, and I will have the link to grab the pattern in the description of this video. I have modified this bag a bit, and I've done that not because I don't like the original. I love the original, but I was looking for a sling bag that was quick and easy to make, and so I made my modifications so that I could do a lot of these at once. And I did that thinking for events or when I'm restocking my in-person shelves or when I want to post some things for sale. This is a really popular shape and style of bag. So I wanted to be able to make them quickly and sort of streamline, and I even had a friend bring one to Portugal. So it still holds a lot. I take out some pockets, but that's okay. Of course, when you're making this, you can follow the pattern. But I just wanted to show you some of my hacks and amendments that I make on this. I will go through the pieces that we have and where everything comes from, and I'll tell you when I do something different, or I'll try anyways if I can remember. And then we'll take a look at the finished product. We're gonna sew in real time together so you can see how quick this is to make. This is a bound bag. Don't stop watching. I am talking to you, old me, who, if I heard that, I'd be like, you know what, this tutorial is not for me. This is the perfect bag to practice your binding skills. It is so fast, so easy, and I am telling you, don't be afraid of binding. There are so many simple ways to do it, and matching thread and matching binding are going to be your best friend. So keep watching. We're going to sew together and check out a fun summery finished product. All right, as promised, we are going to use webbing for our strap. This is from Wonderground fabric. And then we're gonna do a bronze zipper pull. We are going with this for our main panels. Look at those turtles. This is from Stitch Don't Kill My Vibe. I will link them in the description also, so check them out. How cute is this turtle? Obsessed. And then for our zipper panel and gusset pieces, we're going with this. It's like a dark teal for our exterior. This is also Stitch Don't Kill My Vibe. And then our interior, all of our interior pieces. This is a teal from Gusset Creations. This is their waterproof canvas. And we're going with antique hardware. So we're just gonna, I always start with the panels because this is a bound bag. It's gonna go pretty quickly. We have to pick a front panel. So, I think we're gonna go with this one, the turtle in the middle, and we're gonna put our nameplate on first. We have a teal, and these are custom from Heartwood and Hide. That's cork. I have them in a bunch of colors, although I'm going to have to do another reorder soon because we're running out. I use these a lot. So we're just putting double-sided tape on the back of our nameplate, and then we're gonna find a fun spot. We're gonna put this on the front so that everyone can see it when the person wearing the bag is wearing it. Okay, placement. I would normally put it on this side, and I don't actually have a reason for that. I don't know, but I don't want to cover up the cute little turtle, so that's what we're going with. I am sewing on a Juki TL 2010Q as usual, and our thread is Tex 35 from Wizardry Stitchery. And we're just top stitching around this. And there we go. So now that part is done, and we can take one of our interior center panel, main panels, and because we're binding, this is again why I said this, what I'm doing is making it simple. So on the original pattern, there are exterior pockets on this bag, and there's an overlay that you can do on the bottom. We're not doing the overlay, and we are not doing any exterior pockets. In fact, the only pocket we're doing is an interior slip pocket with waterproof canvas, so it's like the easiest slip pocket you could ever imagine. So that's why I'm saying that I modified this bag so I could do them quickly. So with that said, you just want to put the wrong sides of your fabric together, and we're going to clip, and then we're just going to baste these panels because we're all set with our front main panels until we go to put the bag together. See, look at that. We're a quarter of the way through already. And we're just basting, and a basting stitch is just about 1/8 of an inch around the entire panel. Basted. So we're going to set that aside, and we'll start to work on our other main panel. So this is the slip pocket that we're going to use. It is going to go on our interior, and so because this is a waterproof canvas, we only have this one side, and we're going to fold over our top twice. by about 3/8 of an inch, a quarter of an inch, a quarter. So we're going to fold about a quarter and then a quarter again, and that gets rid of the raw edges. And we're just going to use some clippies. Basically, there's not a back side. We're not lining this slip pocket, so there's not 2 layers. There's just one. So it's good for scrap busting. See what we've done? We just folded it over. Because it's a waterproof canvas, it's not going to fray. And you don't have to worry about putting a backing on, basically. This is just an interior pocket. And we're going to go ahead and do a stitch, an 8 from the top, and then we'll come back and do another stitch right underneath it. So we are double stitching. Okay, and then we're just gonna do one right underneath. You don't have to. I like the look of a double stitch. And you'll note that we're back stitching at the beginning and end of everything. And you won't see these, they'll be in the edges, but we're just gonna cut off our extra. And there we go. So that's the front, that's the back. And then we are gonna baste our slip pocket onto our back main panel interior. With that same basting stitch that we use when we do the main panels together. Basted. There we go. Now we have our one pocket that we're doing. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of things to the back panel before we baste these two together. Now I am going to build out, where'd it go? Our top connector. So there are pattern pieces for this. We need a little bit of our webbing. And we're grabbing a D-ring. And make sure when you're using webbing that you are burning the edges. Where'd my lighter go? Here we go. Okay. And so you just want to do a burn so that over time your webbing doesn't fray and come apart. Edges burnt. Just going to clip this together briefly. And then you're taking your two top connector pieces and you're putting them right side together, wrong side out. this is hard. They look the same, which is a benefit of waterproof canvas, of course, but then when you're trying to figure out what side is not the right side, I guess if I can't tell, then no one can. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're gonna plop in our D-ring right in the center. Like this, D-ring down inside of our little packet and lined up. And then we're gonna stitch around this, and the stitching is in the pattern instructions. I typically follow 1/4 of an inch on almost everything. And as long as you keep that consistent, you can too. So that's what we're gonna go with here. Making sure we don't go over the D-ring. Together, and what we're going to do is we're just going to clip our corners off. Like so. And we left the bottom open, so we're just going to pull this out through the bottom. Get in there and make sure everything is turned out well. See? It's going to go on the top of our bag. It's going to smush in there a little bit in those corners. The little tool. Okay, and then we're going to top stitch this at 1/8 of an inch down both sides and the top. And then we'll find the center. Can attach this to our back panel. So our top connector is done. Now we're just going to clip the center so that when we're ready to attach it to our back panel, we know exactly where to do that. Okay. Now the other, another modification that I make is instead of just putting 2 separate D-ring tabs or just one on one side, I do the strip across the back and let the D-ring just sort of live its life. This just allows the user to easily move from one side to the other. So we're just going to cut our webbing. To size, and melt our edges. Grab another D-ring. We're going to slide that on, and it doesn't really matter where because this is all going to be one piece. Grabbing our ruler, and I'm just measuring up from the bottom. I'm going to mark with my vinyl marking tool. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so I'm measuring up 2 inches. Make a mark. And then we'll place it so that the bottom of our webbing is at that 2-inch mark. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a mark right there. And I did that on both sides. And we'll take the bottom of our webbing and line it up with that mark. And we're just going to clip it in place, and we're going to baste this on. Okay, we're going to find our center so that we can attach the top connector, and then we're going to baste our main panels together, and we'll already be moving on to our zipper panels. Now here's where you want to think about which side you want to be seen. So potentially there's a side that you prefer. I prefer this side to be seen. So basically whatever you're going to see here is what will pop up in the end and be towards the front of the bag. So you want to just keep that in mind when you are putting this on. And again, we're just basting this in place. All right, our extras are basted, and now we're going to baste together. So again, wrong sides together, our interior and exterior main panels. I'm going to baste from this side since we have extras on here. Basted. We're all together. We'll cut off any extra thread. So some hanging around here. But yeah, so see this, now you can move the D-ring however you'd like. Okay, so both of our main panels are complete. We're gonna move on to our zipper panel and our gusset. So whenever I do a zipper panel, I always cut more than what you need. I just think it makes it easier. And what we're doing now is we are just turning our exterior face down. I will show you in 1 second what I mean. We're making a zipper sandwich. Okay, so we're face down on our zipper tape, and then we're going to take an interior panel. I honestly, like, what side is right? I don't know. And we're going to lay the interior right side up, so our right sides of exterior and interior end up being together. So as long as your right sides are facing each other and they start and stop in the same spot, you're good to go. That's all that really matters. And we're just clipping that in. Okay, so, and then we are going to go ahead and sew together at the seam allowance in the pattern. And again, if you want to use your own, you can. Just make sure it's the same on both sides. And then we are, and I haven't put on my zipper pulls yet. Those just complicate things. So then we're going to top stitch. So we're turning our interior and exterior. So now they're wrong sides together. And we're going to go ahead and go down and top stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way. And we're just making sure that we're pulled apart. Don't you love when a top stitch comes out how you hope? It doesn't always happen. We know this. And you know what? It's okay if it's not perfect. It's just so exciting when it is. Okay, watch. I just talked all that and now the other side's gonna come out awful. So we are doing the exact same thing that we just did, and we're just gonna make sure that we line up. Since I overcut the zipper, we're just going to make sure we line up where our other panel side begins. That will keep us the same, hopefully. Sorry, guys. Again, we're pretending like we're live, but we're not because we can't go live on this terrible internet, and I can't figure out why. All right, same thing. Try to figure out what side is what. I think that's a sign of a good one, right? You have no idea what's the front and what's the back, so you really can't mess it up. That's what I'm going with. right, same thing, guys. We're together. Now we're going to baste. I had originally only grabbed one zipper pull, but I actually think we're going to go with two. I like the look of two zipper pulls. Top stitch. Jinx ourselves. Top stitching done on both sides. All right, we're going to cut off our extra zipper tape. We're going to put on our zipper pulls. Okay. Zipper pulls look more complicated than they are, but when you pull them apart, one side is always going to start first. You see here, it's this one. And we are going to start that one first, put the other one up in there. And we're in. And then when you do two, you start from the other side. Same thing, you find which one starts first, you put that baby in there. Having two zipper pulls on a bag that can be carried left or right, I think is important because you are accommodating a lefty or a righty with your carry style. And so if you only put one zipper pull, it's either going to open to the left or the right, and not both. This way, when you put them on, they meet in the center and it accommodates a lefty or a righty. All right, we're gonna grab our handy dandy lighter and burn the ends of our zippers. If you are a beginner and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much burning in sewing. There is so much burning in sewing. Okay, so then we're going to take our gusset, exterior and interior. Actually, you know what? First we're going to just baste together our zipper panels. And this will make it so that they don't separate when we're putting our gusset on. this doesn't have to be perfect. I missed some because we were off a little bit, and that's okay. Just a base to sort of keep it together. And so our panel ends, they don't match up perfectly, which again is totally fine. I'm going to go in and put just one more line here. See if I can catch a little more of the lining. This will line up with our gusset also a little better. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. We're still going to center our panels, and we're going to center the top and the bottom, or the exterior and the interior, however you'd like to call them. And we're going to baste these together. Well, we're going to sew these together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we will turn and top stitch. This spot is the spot where your seam allowance matters, because it's going to, this is what's going around your bag and ultimately that you'll be binding, and so it's important that it follows the pattern. Okay. And then we're just going to top stitch these. All top stitching is done at 1/8 of an inch. And then you just bring up and do exactly the same thing that you just did, exterior and interior. So you end up with 2 loopies. And we're going to sew these together again at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then top stitch. And then we are just going to sew together our gusset pieces. Which will make it so that when we put our bag together, nothing really comes apart. It's hard when everything isn't attached to itself or each other, however you'd like to look at that. that on the other side also. Alright guys, our gusset panels are done. Alright, we're going to find our centers, and to do that you just match up your side seams, and then we're snipping. I like to cut triangle, is that what we call them? Triangle pieces. And if you can believe it, this is the last step before we do our final construction. So this is why I say the modifications that I made were just so that I can sew something very quickly and still have it be a bag that's really in demand. All right. We have our centers snipped on the top and the bottom, and so the next thing to do is to sew our bag together. All right, so we are done with our gusset. We're clipped. We're just going to clip the centers in our main panels. Okay, we are sort of clipped already. All right, now we're going to start to put these together. Doesn't really matter which side you start on, and because we have a center zipper, we don't have to make sure it closes to one side or the other. You do want to make sure that your insides are out. I have sewn a bag together inside out before, which is not what you want, and so we're just matching our top clips. And then we're going to match our bottom clips. And we're just going to clip the straight sides first. We're going to save our corners. Staple this also. All right, so now we're just going to go down and clip towards the bottom corner. I was just going to clip the bottom corners, but I think we're going to clip a bit into the gusset on both the top and the bottom because it will help it to lie better for us. And that just gives you a little bit to spread out. It lies flatter. And that should give us a little more space. Yeah, that's better. That is better. And you never want to cut into your main panels, always just the gusset if you're going to cut. It sort of reminds me of a fan, just fans it out nicely. And we're going to cover all this anyways because we're binding. That's where the beauty of binding comes in. All right. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut into our gusset down here on our bottom corners. And this will hopefully give us enough space. Perfect. And if you're worried about this moving, you could staple. I am not worried. Okay. Again, we're going in real time together so you can see that this is an easy, quick make. So we're clipped all the way around, and now we're going to sew with the gusset side up. And I sew these together at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I am actually unsure what it says to do in the pattern, but that's what I prefer when I am binding a bag. Just gonna grab my screwdriver so I can hold down the fabric as I go. Basically, you just want to make sure that you are going to cover any basting stitches that you have. So we can see that we have sewn within all of our basting stitches. We just want to turn it before we snip anything or before we put the binding on, and make sure that we like how it looks. So obviously we have a little smushing to do, but we have an idea of what it will look like. Everything looks sewed together. Everything looks pretty even, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn it back, wrong sides out. Now, when you put together bags like this, you can sew both sides and then bind both sides. But what I like to do, and this is just personal preference, there is absolutely no reason for it except that I like being done with one task in total. So I will bind this side before we attach the back side of our bag. And like I said, that is just personal preference because of who I am as a human. I need to finish this back side before we can go on. So I'm just cutting off anything that's gonna get in the way of our binding, and that's basically anything extra that didn't line up perfect. We just want to make sure our binding is going to cover our whole stitch line. Okay. All right, so we are just using double-sided bias tape. This I got on a big roll, and so this is really awesome for beginner binders. It is already pre-folded. Some people will get super extensive. We're not doing that. We're literally putting our bag right in the middle. And then we're going to clip. I like to start at the bottom. And we're just opening the bias tape up, just like that. And we're just going to go around the whole bag, ensuring that we're covering up. This is just to cover up the edges, but also our sewing. Not because it wasn't beautiful. It just gives it a finished look that will be appreciated for sure. And as I'm going, I just like to make sure that I'm covering both the back and, or the main panel, and the gusset sewing and seams. Sometimes you think you get it and you don't, and then you have to go all the way back and recut some extra, and that's just a pain, and you don't want that. So easier to check as you go. Binding gives a lot of structure to a bag. We obviously didn't interface this at all, and it's still pretty hefty. I'm not worried about it losing its shape. So when we get to the end, or to where we started, just going to go a little over that, cut, and I'm just taking the end and I'm just folding it. You don't have to, but it's what I like to do. And then that makes it overlap with a finished edge. Okay, so that's what it'll look like. And we're using white thread on white, so you will never see these stitches. And we're just going to start pretty much where we started before and sew it on. Okay, so trim, and there we go. One side is done. You see we caught everything. We got a little there we go. But so it doesn't matter how you sew on binding, but binding gives your bag just like an automatic bone and structure, and it's really relatively pretty easy. And I will not lie, when I first started, I saw people using binding or talking about this is a bound bag when you're watching the tutorial, and I seriously just was like, yeah, nope, I'm all set. So I hope that you didn't do that. I hope you stuck around. It opens up so many possibilities as a bag maker when you feel comfortable binding a bag. So once I'm done, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the back side. Okay, so the back side is gonna be pretty much the same. The only difference is I'm gonna open the zippers up because it'll make it easier for us. Now make sure you put the wrong side out. Again, we're still in that moment where we could sew this bag inside out. I have done it before, ladies and gentlemen. Not a drill. And we're we're going to keep our seam allowance the same so that our bag is sewn together in the same manner. We will once again put clips in all 4 corners. This will just help our gusset sit perfectly together. It'll help it fan out. Okay, almost there. Again, we're just clipping into our gusset, not our panels. We need a little deeper of a cut here. There we go. I'm losing clips all the time. You should see underneath my sewing desk. It is a disaster. I'm gonna redo this side so that it matches a little better. Just need to stretch a little more. There we go. All right. Sewing the final side on. And so now when you're sewing this on, you just want to make sure that you move your other side completely out of the way. Now, again, I can see that I sewed through even-ish, but I see a couple of stitches that are a little long, so I'm just gonna go over them. So long stitches just means that maybe your machine skipped or it had a little harder of a time. And it looks like that was the only spot. So we're good. Now, good practice would be to flip this out so that you can see it, make sure that you like it, that everything is even. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to flip it. I can see that I went a little in, a little more in on one side than the other, so I am gonna just come in quickly and redo my line up here. You really should flip it and make sure you didn't miss anything. It is like sort of a rookie thing to not. I just don't wanna. Yeah, that's more even with itself. So we're gonna wing it. We're gonna see what happens. And you know what? If it is all messed up, it's all my fault. We only have me to blame. Okay, we're doing the same thing that we did on the other side. We're cutting off anything extra that would get in the way. Including our connector pieces, so we're gonna have to reburn those. Okay, that should be good. Cutting any extra thread. Actually might not be enough cut off. We're gonna do a little burn too, just to make these nice and short. And we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna start at the bottom of our bag with our binding bias tape. Making sure we get a good coverage. I can't wait to see this bag all done. It reminds me of summer, and it just snowed 8 inches in April here, which is not normal. So anything that feels summery to me is going to be prime time. I'm here for it. This roll of bias tape also I just bought off Amazon, so it's not hard to find. So far so good. We're covering everything. cutting it close there. Okay. Almost done. And if you've never made a strap with webbing before either, it is so easy. I will even bring my rivet press over so that we can rivet. All right, we're going to do the overlap. Double check. We're good to go. Our little pocket. We're taking it gusset side up again, like always. We're going for it. Look, we got everything. Again, so exciting. It's a good bind. I don't always catch everything. I'll be honest. There are some times when a few things, they just do whatever they'd like. And that happens. Look at our cute little pocket. See? That's perfect for a phone, and if I wasn't recording with my phone, I would show you. But I am. And you can see the bone. We're going to put these away because we are done with them. Turn the bag, and then we'll make the strap. And I'll show you what it looks like on. And so to turn the bag, we're just going to grab a bottom and pull it through. And this is why I only wanted to do this once, because it's not that easy. So the big thing with bound bags is you want to make sure that you're pushing the binding out when you turn the bag. It's what will give it its shape. and it's important for the structure. And you can play with it. Look at her. Okay, it's so cute. All right, so let's make this strappy and then we will look at it all done and on. So we're using the same webbing that we've used for everything else in here. I'm just gonna measure it really quick. Sorry about my back. All right, so it's about 58 inches, which we're gonna leave it at. And we're just burning like we've done every other time. And we need a slider and 2 swivel hooks. Okay, so slider, 2 swivel hooks. We're gonna grab the press and readjust a little. Okay, so making straps with webbing is super simple. Let me just take these dots out. We're gonna do holes first and then rivet. Now some people have 2 machines, 1 machine to make holes. You could also use a handheld. I have one of those, but we're just gonna do it all here. All right, so the first thing you do with a strap is you're gonna feed it up through one side, and then you're gonna pull it back so that it's over your middle of the slider. I like to put a raw edge inside, even though you don't have to. We have our antique bronze rivets, and we're just going to go in and we're going to make a hole. See? Put our hole. And what's great about rivets is that they snap together until you're ready to set them. So we're going to make all of our holes and then set all of our rivets at the same time. Okay, so that one's all set for now. So then you have the wrong side up, so the wrong side is going to be the side with your edge, and you're going to attach a swivel so that it is also wrong side up. And then you take wrong side to wrong side, and you're going up and back over. So now you should have a swivel hook at one side, your slide connector, and then on the other end, we will attach our other swivel and So what you can do here before you actually attach is make sure that you have a swivel facing in the correct direction of your slider and your other swivel, which we do. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing where we turn it over twice so that our raw edge is inside. And we're just lining up our center. We made a hole, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, snapped. Now what we need to do is switch out to our press dies for rivets. Seriously, if you've never done this, it's so easy. And if you're gonna make an investment in a tool for sewing, the rivet press, that's where it's at. That is my unprofessional opinion. All right, and then we just put the rivet in, press together. Grab our other one from the slider attachment. Press. Put our press back. And we're going to attach to our bag. And we're going to take a look at the finished product. All right, we're all done. Here she is. Check out the inside. Their bag slip pocket. I'm gonna put it on for you. I'll do a front side. We'll come over here. So it is perfect. It's a perfect size. And it came together so fast. Again, we sewed this together in real time, and I talked a lot more than I normally would when I'm making a bag. Look at how cute, so summer ready. When I'm making a bag, but the modifications that I made to this Pebble Sling are what make it so fast and easy to come together, and you could totally bust a few of these out in a day and add them to your tables at any craft fairs or shows or festivals or anything like that. And these are a huge seller. The shape is so fun. You could enlarge it, make it like a mini backpack if you wanted. There are literally so many options. It's a great pattern. And seriously, it's awesome for trying binding. You saw how easy it was. It's basically an easy shape. It's not that big, and it's good to try it out on. So I hope that you enjoyed today. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Please subscribe. If you've watched my other videos, you know we're on our way to 1,000. So I would so appreciate a subscribe, a like, a comment. Let me know if you've made this bag. Let me know if you buy some of this awesome turtle fabric. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon.